Would you go on an anime convention on a cruise? Well, that's what I did. Tekko, a convention held in Pittsburgh in late July, announced last year they were going to be holding a cruise that would travel to Nassau in the Bahamas. Who was I to pass up such a unique opportunity ran by a convention I frequent and a great excuse to dress up like a pirate and go on a cruise? For most of the attendees, this was their very first cruise, and some it was their very first convention ever. Wow. And some had never even heard of Tekko before. So this was a first for a lot of people. So, are you ready, kids, for an unforgettable adventure in the Bahamas with a bunch of anime nerds? We flew into the Orlando airport to begin our journey, and there was a shuttle service through our cruise travel agent. So here's us waiting at the spot. In the airport, it was pretty straightforward. We ended up staying at the hotel through the travel agent. It was pretty nice for what it was, pretty spacious. The hotel front desk worker really loved my hair, so she ended up giving me card keys to match, which was really cute. The bathroom was pretty nice, as you can see. Also, check out my cool Buggy the Clown merch, okay? Represent always. It also had a little fancy shower head, which was kind of cool. We ended up eating and getting a drink at the Flamingo Bar. They had a tiki bar as well, but that was closed, so that was a kawa bummer. The pool area was very cool with some very magical rock formations, but we are in Florida, so you will probably get yelled at for standing on top of them. Yes, that was a Holiday Matsuri reference if you ever went to that convention. They are, every few minutes they'd be like, please do not stand on the rocks. So very obvious construction going on. This is when we decided to go to Italian restaurant. This was, yeah, there I am. Forgot to record any of this audio. Not that it mattered because most of the audio freaking sucked. Ooh, Italian food, yum. It was really good actually. It was like a 2-minute walk from our hotel. Now it was time to board the boat. It was pirate time. We are embarking the ship right now. Ooh, there she is. Oh, well. I take being a clown very seriously. Anyways, it was pretty quick to board. So as soon as you get on, you're supposed to go to your Munster station, which is what we did. Now it was time to explore the ship a bit. And in true pirate fashion, we got a drink. As you can see here, the very ominous storm clouds. It was storming pretty bad on the coast, so that was a bad omen of what was to come later that night. Ooh. Our cruise line was Royal Caribbean, and we were on the Voyager of the Sea. So a typical cruise, your rooms are not ready immediately, so it's kind of lots of wandering around with your stuff, kind of getting a lay of the land. Convention activities did not start until 3 p.m., so we kind of just free roamed around and checked out everything. We headed down to the promenade area that kind of mimics a little street. They have lots of stores, a few of the bars were down here, and this is also where the unlimited free pizza was in that little cafe off to the left. Wow, that's a lot of gold. D. Roger, King of the Pirates, that's right. We have entered this casino, which if you did not know, it can actually only operate while out on sea. Our room was now ready. As you can see, I'm still representing future Pirate King Buggy D Clown. We got a room with a window this time, which was cool, but also kind of scary being able to see out into the sea at night. So they actually televise some of the events going on around the ship, so be aware of that. Our luggage was not delivered yet, so we ended up meeting up with some friends for lunch before it was badge pickup / ice cream social time. In pure extra fashion, I showed up in full cosplay to badge pickup because by God, was I gonna commit to the pirate bit the full weekend. Committed to the bit so hard, some people did not recognize me out of cosplay. So they had a fun little ice cream social event where you would also pick up your badge. And it was also sail away time. Here we go, into the ocean. The view from our room on the water was so cool. Wait, do you remember how I mentioned it was stormy on the coast? Well, that meant some really rough waters going into our first night on the cruise. So many got seasick. It was so rough that they closed the pools. And for good reason, because I've never seen a wave like that in a pool before. The hot tubs were still open though, so we got to enjoy that until the rocking of the ship finally took us all out for the night, and we called it a day so we could begin our next journey. That's right, it is Tingle time! Time for Tingle's great adventure on Cococay. So after disembarking, we had to go on quite the adventure to try to find the area where the group photo shoot was happening because, surprise, Tingle is also the photographer for the group photo shoot. Gara was sadly not a great navigator, so thank goodness I realized that I was Tingle, and that meant I had to have a map somewhere, right? Right? Some kind individuals ended up pointing us in the correct direction, so we did in fact make it to the location we were supposed to be in all along. The waves ended up being really rough, so you were not allowed out very far at all, but that was not going to stop Tingle. Around this time, I had a random person very excited to see Tingle out in the wild, and they got a selfie with me. I ended up chilling in the water with some fellow anime cruisers before it was photo shoot time. Uh-oh, what is that? What is that, you might ask? A storm cloud. It turns out Tingle is very scared of water, so I end up hiding under an umbrella while the rain passed. It was also extremely windy, as you can see from these clips, and I was very glad I did not have a wig that could get snatched. Now it was photo shoot time. We did big group photo and some smaller individuals as well until everyone just kind of disappeared. And we all broke up into smaller groups and wandered around a bit. I ended up getting a drink and I enjoyed some water time with my new buddies before we all decided it was nap time and we had been out in the sun for too long. Also, check out this really cool pirate treasure someone found. I'm very jealous. I wish I found some pirate treasure, or the One Piece would have been really cool. So we boarded the ship, and that meant it was costume change time. Alright, Buggy is going back out on a great pirate adventure. We're still at Cococay, but we're about to be leaving soon, so figured I might as well get a head start before the people rush back on the ship. That's right, Buggy Outfit 2, Impel Down version. One of the things that was interesting about a cruise on a ship is there were a lot of very curious cruise goers who were like, what is going on? Some people thought I was a performer on the ship, but a surprising amount of people knew exactly who I was thanks to the popularity of the live action of One Piece. Since this was a first year for this anime convention group, most people did very casual looks, but I was gonna go all out so that future con goers would feel brave enough to fully commit to the bit. For con activities this night, they had a movie viewing, and then they had a little social in one of the lounges. Drinks for the first hour were free, and there was lots of yapping and socializing that happened. That's right, the One Piece is real, and I found it in the arcade. I ended up checking out the arcade on the ship out of curiosity. I was extremely excited, as you will see, that they had a machine with Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog. I was very giddy, as you can see, and our third day begins on Nassau. That's right, did you know that they had a McDonald's there? I decided to play it chill for once this day, so I did not cosplay. Surprise! I did have a photo shoot with a cosplayer, so we ended up heading off to the closest beach. There's that dang McDonald's. Wait, what's this? Margaritaville? It was a 20-minute walk to the beach. It was a pretty walk, but it was a walk. We did get asked about 30 different times if we wanted to buy a $10 chair on the beach. Yes, those chairs behind us, they were charging about $10 for those bad boys. Guys, we are at the Pirates of Nassau. Look, they have the Jolly Roger. Some of the prices for things screamed tourist trap. They also had some very quirky stuff in the shops around. These were the interesting drink selections, like barf. we stumbled upon an unusual alleyway that led to a sports bar called the Bearded Clam. Also, check out this little pigeon. They had an interesting area called the Husband Daycare where people hung up dollar bills that they signed. I'm not really sure why, but I really enjoyed the whimsical, fun vibe this place was giving me. And now it was time to reboard the ship. Yes, that was the Disney Wish next to us. I was very excited for the convention festivities on this night, as it was the Pirate Bar Crawl. We pre-gamed in a newfound friend's room where we jammed out to a song written for her situationship she was trapped on the cruise ship with, which was honestly kind of iconic. And we began the bar crawl. It was honestly kind of crazy that there was not one, but 3 buggies at the bar crawl. And we did not coordinate this at all, by the way. Also, while it is a pirate bar crawl, I should mention that the main convention that runs this is located in Pittsburgh, so some were wearing baseball jerseys for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We spent about 30 minutes at each bar, and there was a point where another bar crawl ended up at the same bar as ours, so we did have to change course. At one of the bars, they had a piano singer, and she was not ready for the energy we would be bringing to the cruise. It was on this day that I would also discover they had a special cheer for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the song Sweet Caroline. Let's go Pitt! I was now thoroughly educated on the cheers during hometown baseball games, and I was prepared for what would come after the bar crawl, and that was midnight private karaoke for our group exclusively.
Let's do this. If you see a sailor ship, it might be your last. Just get your sleeves ready. Not really sure where we go. Not really the stone from public rain. Carry on. So kind of girl. Don't like the back seat. Gotta be first.
Our final day on the cruise, we had another group photo shoot that happened, and another day of me running around the cruise as Buggy the Clown. Miku Taylor Swift invited me to do Taylor Swift trivia, and I was once again down to clown. For very obvious reasons, all these clips are muted, but trust, we had a blast. And our group did get every question right, so I think we were cooking. I then got roped into normal trivia, and that was not my strong suit, but I did my best. Buggy made his great escape into another Buggy outfit. That's right, we are at 5 Buggy costumes, and I would have brought more if I could fit them into my luggage. For the con festivities that night, we were having a PowerPoint presentation where people could present PowerPoints on random subjects of their choice. We learned about why we shouldn't have Wi-Fi on planes, that 3D printing is evil, and how to correctly assess if a Gundam is a Zaku. And I cannot remember what the last one was about, I'm sorry. After they had a closing ceremony of sorts where they gave a thanks for coming speech, they gave away some awards, which Tingle actually won the most boat award. And Buggy ended the great pirate adventure. For now? Question mark. But wait, there's more. That's right. Got back to my room, and it turned out they gave us a snail as our towel animal. We did receive a shirt for being a part of the cruise, which was really cool design and everything. And no trip is complete without an insane purchase in the airport. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video today, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you enjoyed this. I know it's a little different than my normal content. Let me know. Maybe I'll do another vlog. But my next event will be Colossalcon, which is later this month. So hopefully I'll see you there.